What's up, everybody? It's your boy Josh with JTM Racing. What's going on? So we're chilling in the Impala right now. I just got home from the gym and my low coolant level light is on. Now, I know this thing has had a coolant leak because I've been able to smell it lately. I just couldn't pinpoint it. So she is running a little hot right now, so we're gonna shut the car off. And I found it while I was in the gym parking lot, so let's go check it out real quick. So if you look right by the belt here, and if this thing, you see that little 90-degree elbow, which would be like a coolant crossover. On the AutoZone app, they call it a coolant hose, and they come in a set of 2, so you might as well replace both of them. But she's dripping right out of that 90, and those 90s have O-rings on each side, which keep them sealed. Now, the O-ring can go bad, or since they're plastic, typically they get hot. This is Arizona, so they get hotter than usual, and they crack. Now, the aftermarket ones are metal, so we're gonna be picking those up. It's a pair for 30 bucks. Willie already looked them up, and we'll see how hard they are to do. They shouldn't be too bad. And I'd pick yourself up a gallon of Dex Cool if you have an Impala. But yeah, so we're gonna get those 90s from AutoZone, O'Reilly's, somewhere, probably AutoZone, because I already got them priced out. But yeah, that's where the leak's coming from. I thought it was the water pump. I checked the hoses, didn't find any leak. I looked under the car, it was coming from this side of the motor, which I was like, oh shit, the water pump. But nope, it's dripping from that 90, and I think she's getting hot because I think she's actually running out of coolant. So, got lucky, got her home. We'll go take the Equinox to go get those other 90s and get this bad girl fixed. All right, everybody, so we picked up the 90s. Come to find out, they were cheaper than what we thought. I thought they were $15 each, which would make 30. Come to find out, the whole pack of them was only $15.99. So I paid like 17 something after taxes. Great deal. So let's go install these bad boys. All right, guys, so we're gonna change out these elbows. This is the first time I've ever had to do this, so it might be a little difficult, but we're gonna get it done. We definitely have to get the belt off, get the alternator out of the way, because those elbows, I believe, are on this tensioner bracket. To get to the tensioner pulley, to get that kind of loose, we're gonna have to get this coolant reservoir out of the way, and we're also gonna have to probably move this strut bar out of the way as well to get that coolant bottle out. So yeah, let's get started. Fun. All right, guys, so we got all that stuff off. It wasn't too bad. A little bit of a pain because I didn't know all the sizes to all the bolts, so I was kind of going through my Raider toolbox. But yeah, got the alternator off, got the coolant overflow out, alternator bracket off, the strut bar. Now what I did is when I took these off, I laid them exactly how they go back, so I know it goes back facing this way. Same thing with the alternator bracket. I know it goes back on facing this way. So all we have left to do now is to pull off these two bolts right here, this one here and this one here, and I believe this whole housing should pop off, and there's one of your 90s, if it will, you guys can't really see it, but it's right in here. And then I believe there's another 90. Oh, it's right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'll show you once I get this housing out. So just two more bolts. We might have to pry that off a little bit, we'll see. But yeah, we're moving along. Alright, so it was being pretty stubborn trying to get this off, and the reason why is there's a third bolt on this bracket, which is back here, and you can't see it because it's hidden. So yeah, don't forget about that. And then that 90 is actually snapped into the side of the intake manifold, if you can see. So I'm gonna have to get that out with the pair of pliers. But we're moving along. Got that bracket out, so we'll take those 90s out, swap them out for the metal ones, these bad boys. And I believe this smaller 90 is in the bottom of the housing, and then this bigger 90 is the one that's snapped into the side of the intake manifold. So yeah, let's get that snap piece out. So there it is, guys. I watched a video on this, and they say they get really brittle and they can snap inside the intake manifold, which this is it right here. It's actually snapped inside the intake manifold. So I'm gonna try to get that piece out with like a pick, and hopefully we can get it out. Very brittle. It started falling apart when I was grabbing it with the pliers. If you can see that, let me go get a pick and some rags so we can also clean up everything once we get that piece out. And yeah, we'll put the new fittings in and we'll bolt her back up. Alright, that was a pain in the ass. That piece was seized in there pretty good. Using my pinky, and where's that pick? This pick, I managed to get it out. So here's the O-ring that came out, and here's that little piece that was broken in there. I hope I didn't score it up too much in the intake manifold. We should be fine, because I was trying to, you know, get it out, and I might have scratched it a little bit, but we'll clean it real well. And we'll put the new 90 in it and we should be all good to go. I'll put my pinky in there just to feel around to see if I feel any really deep scratches or anything, but I think we'll be fine. It was in there really good. It was actually leaking, I believe, from this housing side, so we'll just have to find out. But yeah, it's all out. So now what we'll do is we'll take the 90s out of the housing and replace them with the metal ones. Getting there, let's do it. Make sure you check the 90 on the bottom of the housing, because that was actually snapped as well. That 90 goes into the water pump housing, I believe, but yeah, it was snapped as well, and I had to pry it out, so there it is. But that one was a lot easier. Came out with the O-ring and all, and I didn't have to work as hard to get it out. So we're gonna switch out these 90s and get that housing back on. Alright guys, so I had a little bit of trouble getting the serpentine belt on, but I got it done. I'm not gonna lie, I had to come over here, look at this diagram, just to make sure I was doing it right. But got her on, all snug, alternator's on, those 90s are on, strut bar's on, coolant overflow's on, alternator bracket's on. Those 90s are nice and chrome or aluminum, whatever you want to say, aluminum. Hopefully they're all good and they'll stay sealed. And at least if they ever have to be replaced, it's usually because of the O-rings. Now that they're metal, they're probably not going to crack. So the other factory ones are plastic and cheap, and you can buy those ones too, but you're probably going to replace them, you know, every couple of years because of heat. And this is Arizona, so they get real hot and they just fall apart. Anything plastic falls apart. I mean, just from this thing sitting in the sun, and this little plastic piece, my window seal cracked, which I need to wash this thing and throw a cover over it because the car's too nice to be rotting. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to throw some coolant in it, fire her up, let the thing bleed, let it burp up any air that's trapped in the system. And once we do that, we'll top off the overflow. Hopefully we didn't lose too much coolant because I only got a jug on me right now. If I have to, I'll go buy another one. But I'm hoping 1 gallon should top it off because we didn't like empty the whole system. I guess you could flush it if you wanted to. I'm not. The coolant in it was already good. So yeah, I'm gonna fill her up, fire her up. We'll go from there. Kind of making a mess right now, but oh well. Just gotta take your time when you're filling up the radiator, mostly at the angle that this one sits at. Probably should have used a funnel. Too lazy. Yeah, see, she wasn't low. That was maybe like half a gallon. So we're gonna fire her up. Yeah, we might need another jug, but I'm just gonna top her off as much as I can right now because I can probably drive her to the store. Burping. So check the leaks. We are not leaking from that elbow in the front. I can't really tell about the elbow underneath because you just can't see it. I guess I'm going to have to look under the car once I drive a couple times and see if it's dripping or anything. Because you just can't see it from this angle. This overflow bottle is right in the way. If we get lucky, this gallon will be just enough. But she's topped off right now. She's just burping. I turned the heater on full blast so it can circulate through the heater core. So if there's any air trapped in there, I doubt it, but so far so good. I will definitely be doing like a full power wash on this engine bay soon. And maybe getting rid of some stuff we don't need. Like, you know, like you have this. That doesn't need to be on there. Why? It just doesn't need to be on there. It's taking this off weight reduction, right? It's like a little sleeve sitting on this little brace. I'll probably take this out because all the clips are broken on it anyways. Don't need that there. It's a little bit of weight reduction because there will be some mods getting done to this car. I'll be doing a ZZP intake system. I'm not too sure if I'm going to do the short rim that's enclosed or the cold air. I kind of want the short rim that's enclosed. Doing exhaust, probably doing headers, downpipe, and then future plans would be a supercharger. But I really want to get the intake, lower this thing on some nice like 18s, on some brand new struts and some nice maybe E-box springs, and just little tasteful mods because this is a really clean car. So, but one thing at a time. I've got a lot of other projects to take care of. So this thing will just be maintained, kept clean, maybe little mods here and there, tasteful mods. Hey, we might get away with this 1 gallon. It's not even burping anymore. Probably not too much air in the system. Belt's on there nice. Better get up to full operating temperature. Probably throw the rest of this gallon in the overflow. She does need a full tune-up. Spark plugs, wires, probably a fuel filter. That's why you notice on startup she was running a little rough. Once she fires up and she starts to idle, she's fine. She just has a rough start, and I'm pretty sure it needs a tune-up. Will hasn't done a tune-up on this thing for a while. I understand why. It always ran solid. But yeah, fuel filter, spark plugs, wires. Probably due for an oil change now. Probably an air filter, but I'll just do, you know, the ZGT intake. Short ram most likely because I like how it looks. And it needs windshield wipers, it needs a full clean. But yeah, I mean, overall it's a good car. It's a runner. Just waiting for this thermostat to open up. But it looks like she ain't burping too much anymore. Should be good. I'm gonna let her sit here. Like I said, just keep letting her burp. And once she gets to operating temperature, I'll throw the cap on so it can build up some pressure in the cooling system. And we'll check for leaks. So we'll come back. Alright, so she's at operating temperature. Thermostat opened up. I think we're good. She looks like she's dripping a little bit from the bottom, but I can't tell if that's residual or not. Like I said, can't really see that other 90. You can kind of see it from here, but you can't see if it's leaking or not. So what I'll have to do is take this thing around the block and let all the residual come off the car. And then go from there and just see if she leaks, I mean, later on. So yeah, I'm gonna go take her around the block real quick. Alright, so I believe this is a success. The 90 in the front ain't leaking, that's for sure. The one in the back, you'll have trouble seeing. I kind of looked at it with the flashlight. Doesn't look like it's leaking. Took it around the block, running good. Temperature is right, not getting hot. I think there is still a little bit of residual on the bottom just from me missing the radiator when I was filling it. Overflow, we're good. It's right where it should be. At the hot mark, that's right below the tensioner pulley. But yeah, she's running good. Had the heater on, heat's working. So heater core's good. Ran the AC. AC's blowing ice cold, even though it has nothing to do with this. But yeah, so that's how you change out the 90s and go from these garbage plastic ones to the aluminum ones, which are way better quality. I think they're about $7 more. Just get them, because you're most likely not going to have to replace them for a long time unless the O-rings go bad. Now with the plastic ones, the O-ring can go bad, but they also get brittle and they crack. And then if you do have to change them, they're a pain in the ass. With the metal ones, they won't be a pain. They should come out all as one piece. Yeah, but it's all good. It's all done. That's how you change them out. A little bit of a pain. Other 3/8s in different cars can be a little different, but they're all typically right around, you know, the same thing. Some don't have the overflow right here. Some you might be able to get to the tensioner a lot easier. Some have a different alternator bracket. It all depends on what kind of car you're working on. So like, you know, they had the 3/8s in the Lumina, they had the 3/8s in the Impala, they had them in the Monte Carlo, they had them in the Regals. There's probably little things that are different, but practically the same thing. Shouldn't be too much harder. And this was my first time doing it, which it wasn't too bad. I got it done in, let's see, probably an hour and a half. Yeah, a couple hours. But that's it for this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to my channel. Please leave comments and please like. Peace out, guys.